Good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment so that we know where you're writing from. Good evening. Good evening. Please leave a comment so that we know where you're watching from. Hey, Edith. Good evening. Good evening. Please, where are you writing from? Good evening. Good evening. Please, as you're joining, do well to leave a comment so that we know where you're writing from. Shahar, good evening. Good evening. Please, as you're joining, do well to leave a comment. Tell us where you're writing from. Frankfurt, Germany. Thank you so very much. Good evening. Good evening. Germany is winning today. Good evening, please. Do well to let me know where you're writing from. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment so that we know where you're writing from. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so very much. Good evening. Good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment so that we know where you're writing from. Thank you so very much. Thank you. This is my birth month, so please do well to leave a comment. Shahad, haven't you seen a lot of naked women before? Why are you so excited about seeing a naked woman? This is not a place for naked women, so if you're looking for who is naked, please keep searching, okay? No disrespect though. Haven't you seen enough nakedness online? If you like it, go and look where there are naked women, okay? This is not a place for nakedness. We don't show boobs and nyash here. Good evening, Mother. Cynthia from Ghana. Sister Veronica, you have started today, alright? You really have started with this, your France and Germany and Ghana. But anyway, thank you so very much. Sister Veronica from Ghana, you're very welcome. Good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment. I was having a class with Sister Veronica this evening. However, the network is not the best on her side, so we had to miss the the show. Good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Sister Veronica, you were talking about something. Let's keep it going. Sister Veronica, you were talking about your internship, and I asked if you're ready. I'm not a Muslim, Sharad. I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Christian. Good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment so that we can move to the next. Today we're talking about temperature. If you're having a high temperature, how do you manage it before you leave the house? Until Sister Veronica initiated to the fact that she is about to go in for her internship and wondering the best possible ways in which she can do so with effectiveness. Good evening, good evening, good evening. As you're joining, what's a problem? What do you mean by what's the problem? There is no problem, Shahad. Good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave your comments. As you're joining, tell us where you're watching from. Today we are talking about management of temperatures at home. Please, as you're joining, neglect those commentaries that Shahad is leaving on. I don't know what he wants to see on naked women, but I'm sure there are a lot of naked women online. He does not have to come and see mine. Good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment and let us move together. Good evening, good evening. Temperature is one of the most crucial things to have. How can we manage a person with high temperature? It is not completely out of place to see that many mothers at home get scared when a child is having a very high temperature, as well as to some extent we still have to use manuals, and we still have to use the same measures that our parents use at home in the hospital, because we cannot keep giving the child or the adult antipyretics or antipyresa over and over and over and over again. So we will have to use some of these natural ways to kind of bring down the temperature and to see that the temperature is under control. And most often, there is a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety, and some of these mothers keep the child at home right up to when they are now 40, 41, and probably getting into a convulsion. So, what are the possible ways in which a mother can manage high temperatures at home before bringing the baby to the hospital? We have number one. The first thing to do if you have a patient who are, if you are a mother, you have your loved one who is having temperature at home, is to stay calm, because some people they cannot handle the fact that their loved one is having a high temperature. So you need to stay calm. You need to get to your system and understand that high temperature, it is simply the body's way to indicate that there is an infection and needs attention to. It is the body's way to indicate that the white blood cells are trying to fight off an infection in the system. So when you stay calm, it's going to help you think correctly. It's going to help you to know the best possible ways in which you are supposed to manage the disease condition. Remember, one of the skills as a nurse is the ability to stay calm while everybody is hot. So when you are calm, it permits you to be able to meet up, it permits you to be able to attend to the others in the best possible way. So it is the same thing we are going to tell the mother at home or the father. If somebody in your household is having a high temperature, the first thing to do is to able to get composure and stay calm. Now when we go to number two, is stay hydrated. You have to be able to keep the patient hydrated. And that is why, as the patient comes to the hospital, when we check the temperature lab, as well, and the mother is still at home, it is advisable you tell the mother to keep breastfeeding the child until it is time. Hey, Sister Veronica, mom is greeting you. It is advisable to keep hydrating the child often as the mother is preparing to go to the hospital. Sister Veronica, are you online? All right. This Sister Veronica is not easy. It is very important for you to keep hydrating the child. So you ask the mother to continue to breastfeed the child within short intervals until they get to the hospital. And after you keep hydrating the child or you keep hydrating the patient by either giving normal saline or ringers or glucose, depending on if you have already monitored this patient and you are certain that they are not diabetic. Now you can go up to doing what? Light dressing. You advise the mother, you advise the patient, please take off the patient's dress if they are putting on a pullover. Ask them to take off their pullover. However, when it gets to temperature management by wearing light dresses, you need to be certain that the individual is not having shivering, because the cardinal symptom for malaria is shivering, extreme cold and shivering. If the individual is having extreme cold and shivering, please do not ask them to take off their Please do not ask them to take off their pullovers. Instead, allow them with their pullovers for at least 30 minutes, after which you ask them to take off their pullovers. Or give them a blanket for at least 30 minutes before you ask them before you ask them to take off the blanket when they start feeling heat. The next thing to do is what? Tepid sponging. At home, advise the mother to tepid sponge the baby with lukewarm water. It should be lukewarm water, not hot temperatures, no. Lukewarm water. So they should tepid sponge the baby with lukewarm water. Are we together, Cynthia? So you tepid sponge the baby with lukewarm water, and if you are done doing that, it's going to help them to have a normal temperature. It's going to help them to bring down the temperature. If it is an adult, you will simply ask the adult to go and have a lukewarm bath. This is going to help to control the temperature. Mostly and especially babies, newborn babies, we will not give any medications to control their temperature. We will simply do physical measures, and that physical measure is exposing the child, putting the child back in clothing, tepid sponging, and these are the physical measures in which we are going to take to manage and to handle a baby that is having high temperature, and not necessarily taking off their clothing. Is that understood? Cynthia, is that understood? Okay. So after you have tepid sponged the child, what is to be done? If you have tepid sponged the child, if the mother is still at home and is still preparing to bring the child to the hospital and the temperature is still persisting, you can advise them to take acetaminophen or ibuprofen. Now, acetaminophen or ibuprofen is going to assist to bring down the body temperature gradually while they are preparing to go to the hospital. If they are in a hospital setting and you're the nurse on duty, you can simply administer paracetamol or Anagin, whatever the options are, so that the patient can feel better. However, never administer uh, aspirin to a baby that is, or to a child that is less than 18 years of age. Never administer aspirin. Is that understood? My battery is low. Cynthia, is that understood? What do you mean by drugs or setup? What are you trying to say? Drugs or syrup? If it is an adult, you give paracetamol pef or you give paracetamol tablet. For an adult, you can give Anagin, as well as for a baby, you can give parapef. Now they'll calculate the dosages that is right for the child. That is a child that is above 2 years of age, or Anagin, that is in a good dosage. But below 2 years of age, it is advisable that you keep managing it and doing physical measures. Manage it, remove the dress well when the baby is feeling cold, and doing sponging and having a warm bath. Just make sure that you are able to manage the situation when the individual is having the high temperature, and do not use aspirin for children that are lower than 18 years of age, because this is not good for their livers. Is that understood? And then the next point is rest. Make sure that the individual has sufficient amount of rest. Now, when your body is trying to fight off a disease, when your body is trying to fight off a bacteria, please, and you are feeling weak, make sure to rest so that you can give the white blood cells enough space, enough time to work on these bacteria, instead of you interfering by doing every other thing and then getting yourself being knocked out because your system is equally trying to work on it. So if that is understood, this is how you're going to try to make sure that you can be able to handle the fever without necessarily using medications or using medication at a later period. Remember, drugs heal as well as they have the ability to kill. So only use them when it is very, very necessary. Now, what are the levels in which you as an individual need to go to the hospital ASAP? You need to go to the hospital for a child when the temperature is more than 38. If a baby's temperature is more than 38, it simply could indicate that they are suffering from a high, they are suffering from an early neonatal sepsis or a late neonatal sepsis. You need to take that child to the hospital to see a pediatrician. Or if it, as an adult, if your temperature is more than 39, please go to the hospital and find out and do investigations, reasons for which you are having a very high temperature. Do not in any way struggle with it and stay at home. Number two, when your temperature, when your high temperature has been coming on and off and persisting for like 3 days, please do not allow the fourth day come meet you home. Go to the hospital and seek medical attention. Number four, if you are having symptoms that are associated with the fever that has to do with stiff neck that has to do with convulsions, unconsciousness, or that has to do with other symptoms, itches, rashes, please, difficulties in breathing, seizures, go to the hospital. Neonatal sepsis is an infection of the baby that occurs within the period of the first. For early neonatal sepsis is the first 1 week, and for late neonatal sepsis it ranges from 1 week right up to 3 months. The books will say 28 days, but the treatment and the consideration for late neonatal sepsis goes right up to 1 or 3 months. Is that understood? Good evening, good evening. Cynthia, any other question? Thank you so very much. So I guess one of your objectives have been met, and now you're going to go into the field and be practical about it. Don't forget, I'm always here for you, and I'm here to assist you depending on where, when, and how. And if we have to add to our if we have to add to our tip for internship, we were talking about tips number 1, which is say do your research, know where you are going to and know how to approach the people where you are going to. Check on how long or how far they are on their shift. Which shift is being carried out there? Is it a 2-hour shift? Is it a 3-hour shift? Or is it a 4-hour shift? Make sure that you know it and you are able to evaluate if that range of shift is going to be able, you are going to able to withstand. And there are people that are doing 24-hour shifts, so know that. Check the distance from your home to your workplace so that you know when you are able to leave the house and get to work on time. It is very necessary that as a student nurse, you get to work on time. Do not mix that. You are going to be getting on work on time for the longest period in your life. So it is earlier you start now, the better. Cynthia, is that understood? And then you are equally going to learn how to calculate dosages, medication dosages, because you are going to go into the field to assist the health team to get the best possible care for the patient. So you need to know how to calculate your dosages correctly. And calculation of dosages, the formula is the desired dosage, that is what the doctor has prescribed, all over the available dosage, which is the available dose that we have in the hospital. Let's take, for example, multiply by the diluent. So let's take for an example, we are talking about ceftriaxone. Ceftriaxone is 1000 milligrams or 1 gram, or 1000 milligrams or 1 gram. And ceftriaxone is diluted in 10 mils of water, and the doctor is requesting that you should give the patient 400 milligrams. Now, how do we get the mils in this at this ceftriaxone that is 1000 milligrams? It's going to be the 40 milligrams divided by the 1000 milligrams times the 10 mils. We are going to have 4 mils. So you are going to be removing 4 mils of the 10 mils that you have diluted to administer to the patient. You can check the same for artesunate. Artesunate is 60 milligrams as the available. Maybe you need 45. It's going to be 45 divided by 60, and the diluent for artesunate is 6. Multiply it by 6. Each and every other medication has the available and have the diluent that is used to diluting the medication. Always check and then calculate. What did you not understand? What I am saying is that when we talk about drug medication, be it artesunate, be it ceftriaxone, be it whatever medication you want to calculate, it is the desired dosage, which is the dosage that has been prescribed by the doctor, divided by the available. The available is what is written on the container of that medication. And for ceftriaxone, ceftriaxone is 1,000 grams, 1,000 milligrams, which is 1 gram. And the diluent for ceftriaxone, which is normal saline, they dilute it with 10 mils of normal saline. So you are going to, if the doctor now prescribe 250 milligrams of ceftriaxone, is going to be 250 divided by the 1,000 milligrams times 10 mils, which is going to be 2.5 mils. So you are going to draw out 2.5 mils of the normal saline that you have diluted and administered to the child. Cynthia, is that understood? Cynthia, is that understood? Cynthia, have you understand that now? Cynthia, are we together? Do you not know how to calculate your drug dosages? Cynthia, are you still online? Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is preparation for internship. A bit mother, I will try it tomorrow and get back to you. What are you going to try tomorrow to get back to me? How to calculate it? Now calculate 500 milligrams of artesunate. The prescription is 500 milligrams. The available is 1,000 milligrams and the diluent is 10 mils. The formula is the desire all over the available multiplied by the diluent. Calculate it and give us the answer. You are not going on internship to start to do it. You need to know how to do it and get on internship and start assisting the medical team. You need to come with something. We need to know that you are coming to assist. We need to know that even though you want to gain knowledge, you are trying to gain experience. These are things you do in school. So we have been talking about common research. These are the researches that you are going to make to start your internship. Number 2, time management. It is very necessary that you know that as a student nurse, it is annoying to go to work late. Very annoying. Imagine that a senior nurse will be on duty. What are you asking me to do? You said I should repeat. I should repeat the formula. Are you trying to write repeat? I said calculate 500 milligrams in 500 milligrams of ceftriaxone. How many meals will you be administering? Calculate it and tell us the answer. How many milligrams would you be administering? Calculate 500 milligrams of ceftriaxone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please tell us where you're joining from. Today we are preparing for internship. Good evening. Cynthia, are you with me? As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment so that we greet you depending on where you're writing from. Cynthia, good evening. Cynthia, are you there? Have you calculated? Please tell us what your answer is. I hope you've gotten your notebook. Good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do leave a comment. Mother, I got 5 grams of ceftriaxone. You got 5 mils of ceftriaxone. You're calculating to take it to mils, not grams, all right? You got 5 mils of ceftriaxone, not grams. Remember, you are calculating it to convert it from milligrams to mils. So 500 milligrams of ceftriaxone will give us 5 mils of ceftriaxone. Is that understood? Is that understood, Cynthia? Good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment. Okay. All right. So the next thing you're going to do is number 2, time management. You need to go to work on time. So you need to estimate the distance from your house to work and put additional 5 or 10 minutes on it so that if you get stuck in traffic, or so that in case you want to go to work and you delay to have a car, what you will still get to work on time. Because it's completely annoying to see that a senior nurse is on duty by 5 and a senior nurse is on duty by 5 and a student nurse is coming to work by 7 p.m. So please always make sure that you go to work on time. Moreover, you're going to be going to work on time for the rest of your life. So the earlier the better. Start now and start early. Number 3, be prepared. Have you bought your gloves already? Cynthia, have you bought your gloves? Cynthia, do you have your gloves already? Because you need to go for internship with all your equipment ready to start work. Do you have your BP machine with you? Have you bought your gloves? Do you have your wash? Have you got yourself a wash? Mark, I'm very pleased to know that you're one of my top fans, but if you keep irritating with those messages, I will block you. If you keep texting those messages, I will block you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment. This is not an emotional class, and please respect the person teaching, please. Thank you so very much. I don't know why he feels like this is supposed to be where his fantasies are met. Please go and do your fantasy somewhere. We are trying to get serious and you're here talking shit. Please. Good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do well to leave a comment. Please be respectful. I know others come here and they want to see bra and pants and they want to see. I know it's surprising to see that there's a community with people that wants to better their life instead of showing their boobs and their buttocks. Your gloves. Have you already? Do you have pens? Are your pens ready? Do you have your watch? These are some of the things that you need to be able to have a successful internship. Because as a student, you are not supposed to use the BP machine of the hospital. You need to have yours. So please, do not go. If you haven't bought your gloves yet, go and get your gloves. Because you are supposed to hand one packet of gloves to the hospital as you start internship so that you can be able to use theirs freely. All right, with that so said, number 4, write down all medication drugs. Cynthia, do you have your jota? Have you bought a jota already, or do you have the jota you used for the last internship? Because I always advise you use the same jota. You should get a jota that you continuously use. It don't misplace your jota, because even on the day of writing your HND, you will be using that same jota. So it's better you start keeping it now. You need to go and buy your packet of gloves. You need it. That is what you are supposed to submit to the hospital so that you'll be able to use their gloves. And I know a packet of gloves is about 7,000. So go and buy your gloves. I think in Kumba it might be even 5,000. Go and buy your packet of gloves which you drop in the hospital, and now you'll be able to use theirs until when you leave internship. So get your gloves ready so that someday they don't send you back home because you did not come with gloves. Exactly, that is very beautiful. So on that jota, go count like 3 pages or 4 and write drugs, you write dosage, you write classification, and you write uses, their use. Cynthia, is that understood? On each and every medication, on remove 4 papers and just draw the lines, the drug, the dosage, the classification, and what the drug is used for. And this is what you are going to be able to follow up your internship. As you get to work tomorrow, as you are saving treatment, as you are going to for rounds with the doctor, as you are seeing this, when you get one medication that you see, ceftriaxone, number 1, you write ceftriaxone. You go to the dosage. What is the dosage of ceftriaxone? Is 1,000 or 1,000 milligrams or 1 gram. You write 1,000 or 1 gram. And then you go to the classification. What is the classification of ceftriaxone? What does it fall under? Are they antibiotics? Are they antipyretics? Are they anti-analgesics? Which classification? Are they convulsants? Which, or are they antihistamines? You write the class of medication that ceftriaxone is from. What is it used for? You write the function of that medication. So when you get to work, you can be able to write the number of medication you are seeing, and then when you get home, you now finish the assignment. You now write the medication, you see the dosage, you write the dosage too, and then the classification. When you get home, you check the classification, you write, you check the what is used for, and you write. This is going to be the easiest way for you to study pharmacology. When you write all this medication, when you are leaving internship, check the number of new medication that you have learned and see how helpful this medication would be for you. When you get to level 300, pharmacology is not going to be a problem to you. And when you are about to write your exams, you are not going to have problems in understanding whether or not this medication is used for what or this medication is used for what. Because during your internship, you have actively have and shown some respect and learn a medication depending on your community. Cynthia, is that understood? Cynthia, is that understood? Cynthia, are you still online? If that is understood, let me know so that I can continue. Yes, is the best way to improve your pharmacology. Is the best way to master pharmacology. Every nurse, I tell you, every nurse had that phobia for pharmacology because you're wondering, how am I supposed to learn all this medication? Until the day you die, you'll be learning new medications every day. But it is important that as you are going, you should learn the medication gradually. If you already know about ceftriaxone, there is no way you are going to forget that. If you learn about artisanal, there is no way you're going to forget that. And that is why I said, as you're going, you write the date that you are starting your internship, remove like four pages and remove them. Don't jot anything on those four pages. You draw your line, four different rows: medication, dosage, classification, and the function. That is going to help you. You are going to realize that when you are now about to go to write, you will just take your jotter and you study on those medications that are mostly used in Cameroon. Because I tell you, whether you're in Bamenda, whether you're in Yaoundé, whether you're which direction, we might have a slight difference of disease conditions, but mostly all the disease conditions are the same. And the examiner will examine us depending on mostly use. So it is going to be the easiest way for you to study your pharmacology. So to go to number 5, ask questions. Ask questions as many as possible. Never you go online and you don't ask questions. If you are given assignment, make sure come back to show the individual that sent you to do that assignment. Always come back and see the nurse that asked you to do the assignment and show them. Never you wait that they should ask you where is the assignment that we gave you. No. As you have done the assignment the next day, go approach the nurse, approach the doctor, approach the administrator that gave you the assignment and indicate that you have done your assignment and you want to present it for correction. That is going to show that you are a duty conscious student. And each time somebody wants to do something, they will want to get you on board. They want to explain to you better because they know you are ready and you want to learn. Now, number 6, show initiative. Never be that student that immediately they realize that there is no work, they disappear simply because they realize that there are many people on internship. Don't do that. Don't be one of them. You go to for internship and you learn nothing. Yes, you go strong, but you go do them. I know say you are strong, but you go do them. Always do your assignment and bring to for correction. It is very, very important that you are remarked for your good deeds. It was far then, it is old fashioned to be a stubbornness because your stubbornness will only lead to somebody dying and you're going to regret that for the rest of your life. So you want to be a good nurse and you want to do everything to keep being a good nurse. So please do not take that lightly. When you do your assignment, come back, call the nurse that has given you that assignment and show them. Indicate that you're done your assignment, you're ready for correction, and if they can correct it, they will correct it and they'll ask you questions if they have to, or they'll correct it and they'll tell you good done. Because I, for one, I want to work with somebody that is ready to learn. You need to show that you are ready, you are anxious to learn, and that way they will be open to teach you. Number 6, I say show initiative. When you are on duty, always be able to go to the senior nurse and say, nurse, we are supposed to give treatment by 5 o'clock. This is already 4:45. Should I start preparing the trays? Should I start classifying the medication so that exactly it is 5 o'clock we go for treatment? That shows that you are conscious about, Daddy, I beg, help me with a charger. I beg, where am I charger? That shows that you are time conscious. That shows that you are conscious, you are duty conscious, and you want to be able to learn, and you want to be able to showcase the fact that you want to be able to showcase that you are not just there to waste time, but you are equally there to learn in the best possible way. When you are done doing your treatment, and if you are just seated doing nothing, it is equally very advisable that when you sit, you can ask the senior nurse, is there something we can do? Is there something you want us to do? So that the of you always trying initiative. Yes, your name go be na ponyashos. Your name go be na show. No problem. You go show and you go learn. And you go show and you'll be that one person where each time something happen, they'll be calling your name. Because when you have shown interest to learn, let me tell you something. When you have shown interest to learn, as the nurse want to send somebody to do something, they will send you. As the nurse want to ask a particular question, they will ask you. As the nurse think of teaching a particular procedure, they are looking at your attention, and they are looking if you are paying attention to what they are talking about. So yes, if it concerns duty, be punctuous, be pugnacious, be show, do everything to be noticed. Be noticed. At least you are not being noticed for the wrong reasons. You are being noticed for the right reason. So yes, do everything to make sure that the nurses on duty know that you are there because you want to learn and not following the crowd. Don't follow the crowd. You came alone and you shall go alone. So when you came, make sure that when you are going back home, you have carried out and have enough backgrounds and have enough material. Your objective for that day should be met. Is that understood? Number 9, be aware that all nurses are not the same. So do not expect the fact that because you are going in for internship, hello, thank you so very much for joining my live. I saw your messages on my short, I think 3 days ago. I'm sorry that I did not respond to them on time. I came and met the messages late because we've been having blackouts for 3 days. So I could not respond to your messages on time. I'm so grateful that you're joining our live today. Thank you so very much. Please just sit and let's enjoy this evening together. All right, Cynthia. Be aware that all nurses are not the same. So do not get angry if you meet a nurse that is me that talks non-stop. We keep teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching. And do not get carried on and blame the nurse that does not teach to be bad. No. And so long they are nurses, believe me, you might think that they don't teach, but each and every nurse has the way that they teach. Why? Another nurse will be able to teach you the theory and back it out with the practicals. There will be a nurse that will just be there showing you the practicals step after step after step. There will be a nurse that is there asking you questions to be sure that the practicals you are getting, you are actually consuming it correctly. Because I tell you, student nurses have the ability and they always rush to learn the wrong things. A student nurse, the first thing you go on duty is to see the things that are wrong and then you capitalize on it. That is why I say be sure that what you're learning is what you need to learn. Make sure that they are the right materials. So when you meet these differences, Do not hate a particular senior nurse and favor another senior nurse. No. Instead, take the material that this senior nurse is giving, take the material that this other senior nurse is giving, and take the material that this other senior nurse is giving, and join them together to make your own personal nursing practice. No. Listen. Each and every nurse has their own way. As much as they are talkative, they are introverts. As much as they are people that are outgoing, they are people that are shy. And it's not because they are nurses that will not mean that their shyness will go away from them. And I'm not canceling the fact that they are equally very mean senior nurses that do not want to teach anybody anything. You are not the first to encounter that. We did encounter those numbers of people, and that is why we are bringing it forth so that nurses can be a little bit kind to themselves and to the future of nurses. Because what will benefit you, what will profit you if you are a senior nurse and then you go through your period of practice and never teach anyone? If someone did not teach you, what becomes of your life? So it is necessary that you are capable of teaching one or two other nurses so that they become good people. And that is why I'm here. That is why I'm advocate for the students. That is why I'm advocating for the patients. So that you have the best materials. Tomorrow, because I put into my strength to make sure that I teach you and I give you the very best, I'm not expecting you tomorrow to be crafty with your knowledge that you gain. I'm expecting you to keep sharing and sharing and sharing. So when you get to the hospital, do not start looking at one nurse and you are like, I don't want to learn anything from this nurse because this nurse does not even want to talk to me. This nurse, no. Get what you can get from the nurse happily, politely. Get what you can get from another nurse happily, politely, and take all the information and the different scopes of learning and make your own nursing practice. Cynthia, is that understood? Cynthia, at that level, is that understood? All right. So we'll go ahead to point number 10. When you are asked a question by a patient, what do you do? How do you respond to that question? What is the next thing to be done? How do you do it? If you understand the question, that the senior nurse is asking, that the patient is asking, please go ahead to answer the patient in the most polite, calm, and collective manner. Because they are patients, they are vulnerable, they are angry. Some might be angry, some might be happy. So put their emotions into consideration and answer them in the most calm and polite manner. However, I'm not going to say that you're not going to meet very rude, uncultured patients. The first thing you should understand is that the patient is sick. Like my teacher will always say, every patient is mad. And there is no reason getting into a quarrel with a mad person. So you need to consider the fact that they are patients and you approach them in a more kind way, because that is why you're a nurse. As a nurse, the first way to do is that you must be able to manage your anger. If you cannot manage your anger and approach each and everyone in the best possible way, you are going to realize that you are going to fail and you're always going to be in a fight with the patients. So if you understand the question, answer the question in your most calm, polite, and collective manner. But if you don't know the answer to that question, do not formulate. Do not go to the patient and just tell the patient, I don't know. No. Instead, go to the patient and Tell the patient, ma'am, I will get back to you in within 5 minutes, within 10 minutes, or within 20 minutes. Let me get from the doctor or from the senior nurse exactly your question, and then I come back to you. Remember to whom uh, responsibility is given, we are expecting an effective duty. So if you have been charged with that question, we are expecting you to get the response, to be responsible enough to come back. So never go without coming back. Come back and meet the patient and tell the patient the answer. In a situation whereby you cannot give this answer, you cannot answer you cannot come back, please ask the senior nurse with you to go with you so that you can answer the patient's question. It is very necessary that they have informed choices while they are on treatment. Cynthia, is that understood? Do you have any question? Please, if you're watching and you have a question, do well to leave us your questions so that we may answer them as time goes on. Hello, oh. How are you doing? How was work today? Cynthia, do you have any other question? Are you now ready to go and conquer your internship? One last thing, Cynthia. Each day on your internship, each day, make sure that you have an objective that you want to achieve. Each day, make sure that you have to work. Indicate my objective for today. When you get to your working with, and tell the senior nurse, please, I have objective for today, and my objective is to be able to give two IM injection. I tell you, each time there is an IM injection to be given, that senior nurse is going to look for you so that you come and conclude your objective for that day. When you have done having your objective for that day, as you are going home, indicate that your objectives have been done. The next day, write 2 more objectives on the spare page that you are having for that day. I want to give 2 subcutaneous injections. When you get to work, tell the senior nurse that, senior nurse, please, I have 2 objectives for today, or I have 3 objectives for today, is to give a subcutaneous injection. Thank you so very much. So as you are moving on, you have your objective for that day. If your objective says that you are going to observe a woman in labor, especially when you're going for night duty, your night duty should always be observing a woman for labor, being able to dress a baby. If I don't have those clear objectives that you bring, you will only be observing. So you need to indicate, my objective for today is to dress a newborn baby. And when you get to work, indicate to your senior nurse that, senior nurse, I have an objective today to dress a newborn baby. So that if she is delivering a woman, she is going to indicate the fact that one of your objectives is to dress a newborn baby. And if there is a pregnant woman, if she receives a baby, she's going to call for you to come and dress the baby so that your objectives be met. If your objective is to conduct a delivery, write it. Objective this night is to conduct one delivery. When you get there, tell her, senior nurse, please, my objective today is to conduct a delivery. When there is a delivery, she is going to tell you, okay, I'll be right here with you, but you'll be in charge. I'm going to assist you. Let's conduct this delivery together. And she's going to permit you conduct your delivery. If you go to work without having objective that you want to make, you are going to go there and come back empty-handed. Probably you do wound dressing, no, you do bed making, you clean the floor, and you do things that does not really align with any of the objectives. If your objective today is to get into the theater, If they are going to the theater, plead with the senior nurse, please, I want to go to the theater. And they will send you to the theater and you'll be able to carry on your duties effectively. Cynthia, is that understood? All right, you can go and rest, my dear. So you understand everything that I say. Each and every day, I will be asking you what were your objectives for that day, and if you have met the objective for that day. If you do not make an objective for a day, please make sure that you forward the objective for the next day, and you keep moving. You are forwarding it for the next day with the addition of what you had the next day. Is that understood? I know you are feeling weak after drinking whatever you drank. So go and rest, my dear. Tomorrow you are going to start work. I wish you the best of knowledge. Indicate to Violet that you're my daughter. Alright, good evening, good evening, good evening. As you're joining, please do well to like the video. Alright, since our study group is finished, I will stop the live and then I will just leave a little on live before I go to bed.